Hey everybody, welcome back to Gooseberry Homestead. So let's do a tour of my container garden in my backyard. And this will be the week of Thanksgiving. It's Wednesday, day before Thanksgiving. So we're gonna go ahead and just do a quick walk through and just show you what's going on. I've been really busy this last week, and this week's not gonna get any less busy. So I've had fewer videos. I didn't do my weigh-in video last week, and I didn't do the crochet learning video last week, and I'm fully aware of that, and I apologize, you guys. So I'm just gonna do the tour video today, and we'll get back on track in between the holidays, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and keep on moving forward with the videos. So we're gonna go ahead and start over here so we can see what things are living, surviving, which plants are still have their leaves and that sort of great stuff. So my lemon verbena right here, I have it next to my dryer vent. It's still doing pretty good. As you can see, it still has a lot of the green color to the leaves, and not a whole lot has actually fallen off of this herb. And so I'm thinking this is actually a really great spot for it, and so I'll probably leave it here throughout the winter. So moving on, my snapdragon is still got blossoms on it, which is really awesome. And this little plant that came up in my planter here, there's another one over here. I think it's this one right here. I think that's the same plant. I think these are fuchsias, and I don't remember if I planted fuchsia seeds in this container pot at all. And then I have these other little they look like little grass. They came up in one of my other container pots with flowers that I had before here, so I'm not sure if it's something that's in the soil or if it's something that is a bulb of some sort that I had. So I'm not exactly sure, you guys. So we'll just keep an eye on those and see if anything happens with those. I saw they came out here in the dark last night, and this was swinging, so there's a rat or something that is digging into it and eating the seeds. It's been or sleeping in it at night. I'm not exactly sure. Anyways, so my chives that I didn't get out of the pot have begun growing again, with the 3 remaining Lauren strawberries. The other 2 did not make it on this side. And then these ones are doing pretty good. Not all of them survived, but I still have quite a few strawberries. This pot is empty, just growing some moss. Down here is my arugula. It's doing really, really good. It loves this weather. We've had lots and lots of frost and everything, but it really seems to like it. So I'm excited. All those little baby sprouts are going to turn into full-on arugula for me. Do see some couple spots here and there. I'll see like this is a weed right here, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull that out. And then I've got a couple I think these are pine berry strawberries, so we'll just have to wait and see. Up in this pot, this was covered in frost the other day, but as you can see, it likes the cold weather. The parent plant that provided the seeds for these new little plants actually it survived the winter last year through the snow, and then I got the seeds off of it and just put them into the container. So I've got all of that. It's Bernat, and then it doesn't look like anything's really going on up here. I've got a couple small plants right there left, and then not a whole lot going on across. There's one more plant right there, but I pretty much killed my lemon thyme. But there was a lot of seeds that I put into the container, so hopefully in the spring the seeds will come up. If not, it's not a big deal. This strawberry plant's still alive. I don't think that these strawberries will ripen up down here, so I'll probably end up cutting that off to eliminate the energy that's going to the actual strawberries themselves. But it's still blooming, and it's mid-November, you guys, almost the end of November. My oregano is doing great. It's another great cold hardy plant or herb, along with thyme and sage and rosemary are really great herbs to have in the winter. And clearly the arugula grows great in the winter too. So my Moroccan mint, I still have some in the pot that keeps coming back from the roots, which is really great. I do see some little blades of grass. I'll come in and remove those. And I've got some Fresca strawberries up in this container pot, and that's pretty cool. And then I've got Swiss chard up in the back of the pot for easy harvesting. And then up here is my German thyme, and I've got a lot of baby plants that came up from seed. Pretty awesome. So now we're just gonna look. Fennel, I let the fennel go to seed and I'm just letting it drop on the ground. It's right here if you can't really see it. So it's bronze fennel. So still have some apple leaves on the apple trees, and then the majority of the raspberries have lost all their leaves for the most part. Some of them still have their leaves, but everything's looking good. It's that time of year where everything's looking pretty naked. So yeah, everything's looking good. I still got some apple leaves on this one too. And my boysenberry's looking good. I still have one leaf hanging on the apple tree right there. Pretty cool. I've lost the majority of all the leaves on the lower half of the pink blueberry, and the rest of them have turned red, and chances are they will fall off. So and then my blackberries are looking pretty good. Now, like I said in the past, these could be a combination of other types of berries. Only time will tell what we really have, so we're just gonna wait it out. I'm gonna call them blackberries for now. They could be Solomon berries, they could be some sort of blackberry, definitely, for sure. But there is a possibility that some of these could be a Solomon berry. And then, or salmon berry, however you want to pronounce it. And then this is my flower pot with an apple tree in it, and I got goji berries in there too. So this is like a highly condensed pot. I will definitely have to keep an eye on the roots. And then my blueberry sharp, it's looking good. I never did get around to mowing the lawn, you guys. We just get so much rain here in the Pacific Northwest that just a part of me is like, you know what, I'll just wait till spring. But I got lots of tall grass, and I kind of feel like the grass will help insulate around my pot, so I kind of don't want to mow it down, especially right here in this section. It's really tall right here, and that's where I had the majority of my pots earlier in the year, and so it's like super tall right here. And then I moved them right back behind the tall part. But the elderberry's lost almost all of its leaves. I've just got a couple branches hanging on with the leaves and the stems. I came through and I pulled some of the, bent some of the stems off. And then, excuse me, the apricot's looking good. I am planning to allow my apricots to really branch out this next year, and I'm gonna do a very minimal pruning on them. I just want to kind of keep the shape, but I'm gonna try to allow them to do a lot of growth this next year without messing with them a whole lot. If I see fruit, I will cut it off because they're too young for that. My apple tree almost completely done, you guys, with all the leaves, but some of them are hanging on pretty strong still. My flowers and my olive herb down at the bottom, doing great. My other apricot tree is looking good. I know that some of the smaller branches, and they've already begun to be affected, like the very tips, because those are so small, you guys. The majority of all the small little tiny branches, as you see right there at my fingertips, the majority of those are going to get killed during the winter, and only these larger branches sections will survive the tips possibly could die, and then it continues growing from different sections of the tree, especially where we get really cold weather here. So I'm not expecting very many of them, and I'll come through and I will prune off anything that's dead. And I'll be able to see what's dead when the tree starts budding out. And so I will wait, I will trim those off, but I'm really going to be doing minimal amount of pruning this next year on the majority of my trees. I really want to see how big they'll get, and I really don't want to mess with them a whole lot more. I want to allow nature to take its course with a lot of my apple trees as well. I've been on the fence whether or not I want to get any more apple trees, and part of me wants to get those 4 apple trees from the rain tree and have them in containers. Yes, I understand that having a tree in a container isn't necessarily ideal, but my Colomer trees, apple trees, these ones here, they are designed to be in containers, and they are also designed to be smaller trees to begin with. And so I'm thinking I'll be getting the dwarf trees, so it won't matter that I have them in a container pot. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. And then I am planning in the future to experiment and create my own Franken apple tree, and because I would love to learn how to graft, and so that's the idea behind some of my madness. So anyways, yeah. Okay, so right here I've got my 2 trees right next to, 2 different types of trees right next to each other. They couldn't be more than apart in species as you could possibly get. But this is my Lebanon cedar, and it is doing amazing, and it's even got some new candles that are coming on. It's the lighter green growth that you can see on the tree, and I'm just amazed. This little tree is just growing and growing and growing this year, and I just can't wait to see what it's going to do next year. So yeah. And then this is my Russian olive tree. These will remain in a container pot, and I will eventually put it up onto a patio wherever we end up moving, and it'll be close to the house, so that I can keep an eye on the seeds, because I don't want it reseeding, because it's an invasive tree. And so I really don't want its roots spreading out either, so I don't plan to ever put it into the ground directly, because I don't want this tree spreading. And so yeah, that's the method behind that madness. And then this Colomer is doing really great. So yeah, so the plan is I'm gonna go ahead and I'll probably end up getting the other apple trees that I really want, and hopefully I am able to make an order soon for Christmas or my birthday or whatever, and I will be able to get those trees, so and order them ahead of time. My cherry tree still has a couple leaves, and the other 2 smaller cherry trees that are in here are have lost all their leaves, and now you just see the nodes on them. So where the new growth will come on in the new year, and they're buds or whatever you want to call them. I'm possibly using incorrect terminology, and that's okay. Not a big deal. I'm not gonna profess that I know everything, so that's all good. Anyways, so yeah, I still have those. My couple at our church are still moving, so hopefully they'll still want them. If not, I've got them in the containers. And then my Roses of Sharon have lost almost all of their leaves, and I leave the little rose, it's like a fake stone rose, I leave that in the pot to help my husband, so he knows that I've got flowers in there. And then my other flowers and strawberries, and then my Mountain Beauty ash has lost all of its leaves. This has been frosted on, and it's still hanging in there, but well, just wait and watch it, you guys. Last year I cut it all off. This is my pineapple sage, and I cut it all the way down to the ground and put a layer of dirt over it, and it came back from the roots. And so this typically will do that. But I wanted to see how long it will last with the cold weather this year. So I did minimal harvesting because I just wanted to see how it reacted to the weather here. So my strawberries down in that. These are bubble strawberries. As same as in this container here with the ash. Those are bubble strawberries. And they're still blooming out and they're still creating strawberries. But I'm not harvesting this time of year because the strawberries just don't taste as good this time of year. So I just prefer to eat them in the spring and summer months. So those are looking good. My European cherry plum has lost almost all of its leaves. Just on the edges of the tips of the leaves, it still has leaves there. And then I've got Swiss chard in here, and let's see, my asparagus pots, I got one on either side, and then I've got my asparagus here. I did leave that in the middle so that I could put apple tree in this pot and an apple tree in this pot. And I plan to dig this up in the spring and put an apple tree in this pot and then plant the sage around it, and break up my plant just a little bit, and I might put a little bit of the sage into this one too, possibly. And I'm gonna put an apple tree in this pot too. So I'll have 4 trees in these different pots here. My broccoli didn't really do a whole lot. I've got some big old plants there, but not a whole lot. My gooseberries and elderberries are all alive along the fence line, and I'm planning to get a whole bunch of leaves from a friend of mine, and I'm going to be putting all the leaves along the edge of the fence where I've got these things planted, and on top of my garlic, because I just have a feeling it's going to be a really, really cold winter, and I really want my stuff to be insulated, and I can move the leaves away in the spring. Hopefully my son doesn't go and run on top of my plants that I planted. I'll just have to maybe ask him not to. It looks like the I always call it toilet paper plant. Does anybody else call comfrey toilet paper plant? Because that's what I call it. This one I would never want to use as toilet paper though. This is the Russian comfrey, and it is really spiky, and it's not soft like the English comfrey. And like the wild comfrey, I remember seeing when I was growing up in California, up in the mountains. So yeah, this one you don't want to use on your bum. But yeah, let me know if you guys call it toilet paper plant. My husband saw it, and he instantly said, "Oh, toilet paper plant." See, and I didn't even know he called it that. So I learned something new about my husband. Married 17, 18 years or something like that, and I didn't even know that he called it the same thing that I did, because we'd never been around the plant together ever. So it was interesting. All right, so moving on. This is some sage and pine berries up in here, and there's some red berries mixed in there for strawberries. And then all of my gooseberries. I just made a new logo for my my image for my channel here, and I actually pulled the leaves off of one of these plants right here that still had really green leaves, and I used it as a guide, and I basically created my own logo from actual leaves from my own plants. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then all the other ones are a different variety down at the end, and so that's why the leaves look completely different. These are 2 different varieties on this end. So that's, for the most part, that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot on this side of the yard now because I moved things around. I've got my herbs. The tomato plants have died over here, completely gone. This I was using for decoration. That was the corn from this year. I threw it back over the fence, and I'm just going to toss it back over in the corner, back over there, and let nature do its thing. But yeah, I'm just been looking at all the plants, the flowers that I planted. We'll see what lives through the winter, what doesn't live. But yeah, the tomatoes are gone now. They're completely wilted down. The rosemary is growing a lot actually still. I'm pretty impressed. Oh, cool, you guys. Okay, check this out. I was wanting to do a video on this. This is a mushroom growing here, and I'm really kind of happy to see another one because I want to let it grow. And this is called a Zeller's Bodel, or Zeller's Bodel, I'm wanting to call it, or Boletus. There's different names for it, but I'm using the more layman name. So it's Zeller's Boleta, or Bolette, and it looks like this. It's got a rough top to it, and I found a whole patch of it growing right up next to the house, and I picked all of them. And the largest diameter for one of them that I picked was 17 milliliter, or centimeters, not milliliters. Milliliters are for liquid, you all. It was 17 centimeters across in either direction, and it was pretty darn cool. And anyways, I looked them up, and they only grow in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, and they are native to this region of the world. And there's many different types of boletes, and I just really want to show you guys, because I should have done a video with the other mushrooms that I had found, but they are edible, you guys. And I wanted to show you, see if I can get down here. They have these pores up underneath the mushroom. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. It's a really hard angle for me to get. And they have a red stripy trunk that goes down to the ground. And normally where you find one, you'll find like a whole bunch. I'm trying to get my thing to zoom back. It doesn't want to. There we go. But they are edible, you guys. And this is how this one looks. It has the rough, bumpy exterior. Kind of reminds me of a toad's back. And then it has a yellow pore gill section underneath. It's not like the gills that you normally see on all the other, and a dead pumpkin, that you see on the other, the other types of mushrooms. For example, I'll go grab one. There's some over here that I saw, and I was looking at them, and these ones I pulled them up. These ones all have gills like that, whereas the other one doesn't. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and pick it so you guys can see. Try not. My dog likes to do his business over there, so it's got like a minefield. I'm gonna go ahead and pick it. You'll hear some people doing videos on YouTube, and they'll say that if it bruises, that not to eat it. And that is typically true with a lot of the boletes, or a lot of other types of mushrooms and what have you. But the boletes tend to be, they tend to do that. And so I actually ate some last night, you guys, and it didn't make me vomit. It didn't make me nauseous. They're completely edible, and they're totally safe. So I'm going to go ahead and pick it, even though I kind of want to let it go. But you guys can kind of see it has a red stripy underneath side, and then it's got a yellow porous sponge look to the underside. They're really, really cool. They taste really, really good. And I don't know, I really want to pick it, but I don't want to. I don't think I'm going to pick it, you guys. I kind of want to leave it alone, because it'll grow more. But yeah, totally edible. Now, if I find more, I will pick it, because it's right out here in the middle of the yard. And I collected 5 of them yesterday, and I'll show you where I collected them. They were over here next to my house, almost directly across from this one, actually. So I'm going to look in this section. They like to grow in the grass. They grow in the forests. And here's the remnants. This is what I threw back down on the ground. But the slugs like to eat them also. And so They were in this section right here where you see all of the gills. The gills they look like pores. And I just scooped out the pores and I cleaned them off because bugs like to lay their eggs up inside of the pores. And they're really spongy and they will make the mushroom more slimy when you cook it. So I just took a spoon and I was able to just clean them off. And kind of like how you eat an artichoke heart and you're scraping those little hairy bits out that you don't want to eat for the artichoke heart. It was very similar to cleaning the pores out of the mushroom, and that's how I was relating to it last night. And I cleaned them all and I dehydrated them because they say that if you dehydrate them, it improves the texture when you rehydrate them, and they tend to be less like slimy and stuff. But I fried mine up in some olive oil and with a little bit of salt and got it a little bit crispy, and I'm gonna tell you what, you guys, it was delicious. So anyways, I'm really kind of glad I was able to see that. Maybe I'll do another separate video and talk all about it again, just separately, and make another video, because not everybody's gonna watch this video to the end. And if you did, kudos to you guys. But anyways, thanks for doing a walk around with my my yard, so you guys can see what's growing in my backyard, in my containers, and I guess even in my yard. So anyways, you guys have a wonderful day. God bless, and yeah, I'll see you again in another video. Bye.